guess what inspired me to write a piece of Roger Casement was I'd seen a book, a newly published book in a Dublin bookshop about Roger Casement, and I hadn't really thought about him or read anything of him since sort of like primary school education. And so when I opened this book, the index listed all the sort of places that he'd been to, so each chapter. So I kind of went through from the Congo to the Amazon, to London, to Germany, to Brazil, to Lisbon, to Dublin again, to Germany again. And suddenly I went to see there was a whole lot to this guy that I hadn't known of before. I mean, all I got from school that I can remember was that he was part of the 1916 uprising, but he was sort of a failed anomaly to the side. He sort of didn't quite make it there in time. He might have been trying to stop it. He was captured pretty quickly and sort of hung. That was sort of the vibe that I was sort of given. So to read the story of what his life actually was, and to see what he was doing up to the point of 1916 Rising was incredible. I mean, he's become defined by the last year in his life, the trial and his execution. But the work beforehand was amazing. He went up the Congo River, one of the first people on the very first expedition to get the entire way up the Congo. And when he was up there, he witnessed huge sort of slavery. Basically, the Belgian government at the time were running sections of the Congo and running it sort of as slaverers, basically. They'd handed over all the responsibility of running this country to a private company who then were sort of abusing the natives. Hundreds of other people from Europe had already seen this, but he was the only one to kind of say, yeah, this shouldn't be happening, and yeah, I'm going to commit myself to stopping it. Just one guy. And so when he came back, he was working for the Foreign Office, British Foreign Office at the time. He wrote a paper for them. It wasn't taken too seriously, so he began to do something that hadn't really been done that much before, which was campaign directly to the public. In newspapers and books. He had a huge network of famous writers that he knew, from Mark Twain to Arthur Conan Doyle to George Bernard Shaw to Joseph Conrad, and he got all of these people to write books and pamphlets, and he launched a campaign about slavery happening there. Then he was sent to the Peruvian Amazon, where the exact same thing was occurring. It was a British company were running it. He did the exact same thing there, which was incredibly dangerous. He was taking witness statements from people who were being abused by these companies in the same camp as the people who were doing the abuse. So he could have easily been discovered and easily been killed, but yet he continued. And that was a good 15 years of his life. And then the fascinating thing about him was how after 15 years of campaigning about how you should not use weapons on anyone for any reason, he then switches almost completely and starts gun running weapons from Germany and from America into Ireland for an uprising or a push for Irish freedom. And then he ends up in Germany, where he tries to get a brigade of Irish soldiers from the British Army to join him to go back to Ireland via a submarine and then fuel into the 1916 Rising. So he was just such an incredible contradiction of a person. There was so much about him that I didn't know from his earlier time that I think very few people do know, which I think is the most impressive stuff. And then, of course, the last year of his life, like I said, from being captured, trial, to then the release of these black diaries, which really had the effect of killing any kind of legacy he could have had or has had. And whether those black diaries were a forgery or where they were real, there's still some debate around that. So, as a story of one person, it's so epic that I thought it was the perfect piece to do, and I was surprised that there's been some pieces of theatre and film done on certain elements of his life, but I guess I was inspired to try and do all of it. And see if I can fit it in an hour. So yeah, that's where the original inspiration came from.